Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Thank you as always for tuning in with me today. I had a minute and I had something on my mind that I wanted to talk about and share with you. So if you have a second, wherever you are, put your headphones in or you can just listen in your car or whatever. Thank you to all of the new subscribers that have found my channel. And I want to personally thank you for all of the support that I get these days on Instagram, people DMing me. I know a lot of you can't leave comments in the comment section here on my channel, and I understand completely why. Given the nature of some of the topics of my videos, and of course the last series that I've just started, where I'm now unpacking and going and doing a deeper dive into gay culture and all of the snares and all of the pitfalls that will inevitably cause harm, fuck up your life. And so I would kind of consider myself a survivor of gay culture now, to be honest. But that's something that I will get on with in another video in and of itself, because there's just so much to unpack. And I will be doing that series, coming back into it next week with the next video called The Lost Boys, which, yes, it is a play on Pinocchio, Pleasure Island, and also a play on the very famous Disney story as well, Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. But that's another one for another time. So stick around for that. Today, I just wanted to really just acknowledge and talk about someone that is just so courageous, and someone who is just I've got to get I've got to get this right, past tense, who is just so incredibly complex and beautiful, and really, really a person that is just really well before her time. You know, she came into this world way before her time. And today I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on Sinead O'Connor. So if you don't know, Sinead was an Irish singer, and her hometown of Dublin was where she originally came from. And she was born on the 8th of December, which makes her a Sagittarius. I've always had an affiliation with her demeanor, her attitude, her intellect, and of course her music, her songs. You know, if you know the song "Nothing Compares to You," Sinead, nothing fucking compares to you. And I was thinking I often think of her, and I've been following Sinead over the past 10 years. I remember it was about 10 years ago, she kind of had a little bit of a new gust of wind came into her career, and she did another album. And there was a song on that album that she did called "Take Me to Church." It's so good. I'm gonna leave a link below in the comments. So if you would like to go check out that song, please do. It's got a really beautiful video clip, and I think was just one of those people where the moment that you heard her speak, the moment that you felt her presence, it was just a force of nature. It's really interesting. There's so many people out there in the world, but there are some truly gifted individuals that rise and fall. They come and they go, and the best ones always come and go. And being that she is born in a sun sign of Sagittarius, I'm Sagittarian too, right on the edge there of Scorpio and Sag. I was always interested in her. I'm also interested in other people, because when I hear them communicate, or when I hear someone that has very similar placements in their natal chart, and you may not know this, and I'm sharing this with you now. When you when you vibe someone truly, you will notice there's a real connection. There's a similarity there. And this isn't by chance. And if you are into the astrological side of it, we know that all living things have types and patterns of energies. And that was something that I started to notice when I was a kid and went on to study astrology and things like that. But when she speaks, it feels like a part of me just comes alive. And I have this around a couple of other people that I've also heard online, that I also am very, very fond of. And she is one of them. And I've listened to a lot of interviews with her over the years. She had a really rough spell back around about 2017. If you don't know the history of her, she had like a instant success with one of her first albums, which was titled The Lion and the Cobra. And coincidentally, the name or the title of my strength card in my tarot deck, the El Goliath tarot deck, actually is the same title as her first album, which was completely quite uncanny. And of course, if you know in the tarot what the strength card means, it's assertion with patience and fortitude of will. And I mean, it couldn't be more fitting for her. So The Lion in the Cobra was her first album that came out, and it was a smash hit and really kind of catapulted her into this kind of public limelight. But behind the scenes, she had, she was quite a shy person, and she had a lot of problems, a lot of sexual abuse from her mother, and she was raised Catholic. And a lot of really hardcore things had happened to her in her life. But it was her rebellious spirit that just wouldn't comply, no matter how critical people were of her. She always had this kind of sincerity about her that she would speak her truth no matter what. And she would speak it very eloquently and openly and directly. And it kind of brings me to that process in my head that I have too, where we get punished for telling the truth. The moment that you say something that is true, nothing can hurt you if it isn't true. It's interesting because looking at her chart, and the first thing I did this morning when I woke up, I was just curious to exploring where her other placements were in Sinead's natal chart. And coincidentally, they're actually almost identical to mine, which is quite strange. Her Venus is in Sag, her moon is in Libra. There's some scorpionic energy there too, but she's got a ascendant in Sagittarius, which I do too. Her sun's in Sag. So if you know anything about astrology, you know that Sagittarians are truth seekers. They are always looking, or I am personally looking, or Sinead was personally looking for truth. And that is where God is. So, if you know a bit about her, she had a lot of struggles of mental health problems. She was also dealing with some very complex PTSD, as a lot of abuse survivors do. She was always upfront about everything, and her approach to life is something that I really admire. And she seemed very fair in the way that she conducted herself, particularly as a young woman coming into the music industry. And we know the music industry is run by Hollywood. It's run by the elites. It's run by the cabal. And a woman that would not conform to a conventional pop star kind of like cookie cutter thing. She was a rebel, a true rebel that just kept on doing her thing, no matter what was happening around her, her struggles. She also came out and announced that she also had bipolar as well, which is a very crippling thing that someone can go through. And just, I mean, it's just incredible. And I'm just wanted to take a minute just to talk about her, because it's just really interesting to me that someone, and it makes me think about this now, is that how little support someone gets when they're alive for being a truth teller, a truth seeker. And people might privately kind of support her but not say it to her. And also how hard it is for people that do actually have it in them to come out and tell the truth. We know back in the early 90s, she went on Saturday Night Live and ripped up a photograph of the Pope on live TV. Obviously, and one of the things that she said was, fight the real enemy. And back then, a lot of the things were kind of coming out around the Catholic Church and all of the sexual abuse and pedophile rings that had been operating and continue to still operate to this day, the silencing and all of that type of thing to that nature. But she was one of the first people to come out and take an opportunity to use her voice for something that was actually real. And Sinead was able to cross over from being an entertainer to bringing up real things. And that is incredible. And of course, everyone hated her. Celebrities shamed her for this and treated her appallingly. But as we know, as time progressed, all of this came out and she turned out to be right in everything that she was saying. And so, I mean, there was a clip I remember watching of her being booed on stage and just thinking, like, this is a human being standing in front of an audience with a microphone, and to feel that much hatred coming towards her for simply just telling the truth. You know, this is a very, very brave person. Her heart was pure. And, you know, it's just incredible. And I've just been watching her for decades. I was young when I remember, like, you know, the first time I heard her music was probably that very famous love song, Nothing Compares to You. If you've ever gone through a breakup, or if you've gone through a relationship, friendship breakdown or something like that, I mean, that song, it's just iconic. And I think it was written for Prince, or maybe it was written by Prince, but I don't think there was anyone else in the world that could do that song the way that she did that song. Because when she sang, and her voice was just so incredible that it was like transcending things. Like it's a spiritual experience to have known her. 10 years ago, I had a partner that was from Dublin, and he and his wife at the time actually did know Sinead. They worked with her, and I got to hear about some of the struggles of her life back then. And just a creative spirit that just didn't want to be boxed in or pander. A woman that was prepared to shave her head and move to a place that she didn't know. Later in life, she did get ordained, I think. She was clinically and I guess professionally trained in the sense of being a Catholic priestess herself, or a Catholic priest. But it wasn't until 2018 that she found Islam and went down the road of Islam. And I'm a really big believer that I don't really give a fuck what your spiritual system is. I just think it's so important that you have one. One of the things that has really come to my attention, and I don't want to go too far down this corridor or this rabbit hole in this podcast here, is that in gay culture, you'll often find, pretty much always find, that very few gay men are are actually religious or have any sense of spirituality, any sense of kind of shadow work or any type of level of mastery of self beyond themselves. And obviously having a God is obviously understanding that there's things bigger than you, that you are of service to things other than yourself. And one of the things that I've noticed in gay culture is that since most of them don't have a sense of God in their life at all, no morality, no higher code, they make themselves the center of their own reality. So they become quintessentially, they don't have a God, so they idolize themselves as gods. It's all service to self, which is quite spiritually filthy. And of course, it yields the results that it yields. But that's another podcast for another time. But in this podcast, I just wanted to just thank her, and wherever she is in the spiritual world, I hope that she's at peace. It's been a real struggle for her, and since she lost her son who committed suicide, and I believe that she also would have committed suicide as well. I think she probably reached a point in life, as so many very, very spiritual and deep people do, that they've kind of, better off on the other side, to be with her son and, releasing that energy so she could cross over to the other side. And wherever she is, I just hope that she has peace. And wherever she is, I just wanted to take a minute to thank her from my heart, because although she is passed on, the legacy and the inspiration and the determination that she showed in this life has gone on to inspire so many people in the art world, in the music world, professionally and personally. I think it was Miley Cyrus, Michael Stipe from REM, said a lot of his energy for his albums came from her. PJ Harvey, Alanis Morissette, the Cranberries, from Limerick, a lot of them all thank her for all of the work that she's done in the field. And I just want to bring this back to the truth that if you know someone that is brave, if you know someone that has it in them to fight the system, call out the dysfunction, and live a life that is authentic and real, they are going to be hated for it, as I often am. Support them, okay? Because what it does, it takes the pressure off those that actually do the real work, where they step up to put themselves on the line and speak the truth, regardless of how dark the world has gotten or how insane things are right now. This woman was dealing with cancel culture long before cancel culture came out. So you will be missed terribly, Sinead. And if you know someone who's dealing with narcissistic abuse, has gone through rape, has gone through any level of, and I don't care, I don't give a fuck what it is, support them, listen to them, and help them. And even sometimes just reaching out and just sending someone a message to say that you're thinking of them and that you're genuinely interested in them is sometimes enough to keep someone from killing themselves, because you just don't know someone else's life. And I could tell you things about my own life, which I think I will get to at some stage on this channel when I'm ready. I'm going to share some things about myself, but it is the truth. It's my life, and everyone's journey is different. So if you know anyone with this kind of courageous Sagittarius energy, seeking God, and wherever she found her peace, I just really hope that she is at peace right now. And fucking hell, thank you so much, Sinead O'Connor, for everything you did. You will never be forgotten. And I just wanted to make a video today to talk about it. And yeah, you inspire me. And even seeing her like at that lowest point of her life, where she was in a hotel room doing like Facebook interviews and stuff, because back then there wasn't internet. Back then we wouldn't know about what was really going on, you know, because we didn't have access to that level of information like we do now. And she kind of went through that process in the time period that she was born as well. So she didn't have the internet when she started out. But yeah, well, a lot to think about. Lots of love to all of you, and thank you for finding my channel. Thank you for subscribing. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I will see you in the next podcast, and rest in power, Sinead. Okay, signing off. Bye. Bye.